the world at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right? And that's where it really comes from. It's your ability to be resilient, your ability to be malleable, adaptable, and kind of bounce back in a lot of the ways. And when you hear that you suck,
Yeah.
it's going to sting. It's going to hurt. But on the backside of that hurt is your personal growth.
The irritant is an opportunity, dude.
Opportunity to the fullest, man. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Deep MCs, the podcast that seeks to push meaningful conversation to a whole new level. Whether it's for your entertainment or your personal growth, we appreciate you being here today. And now, on to the show. What's going on, man?
Hey, man.
Hey, how we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I cannot complain one bit. I'm going to go back here to, I keep going back to this one. This is the original.
This is the original. This is how we kicked it off.
This is how we started, and I rather enjoy this one, so we're gonna go here. You know what I was thinking too? People are gonna see this.
Mm-hmm.
A, they're gonna be like, why is he wearing pink? But B, by the way we do our show, by the time that they see this, it'll be irrelevant.
It's okay though,
Right?
because the pink is actually all right though. So
yeah,
I mean, you know,
the pink is good. But for anybody out there, I'm just letting you know, the pink is for breast cancer awareness, cancer overall awareness.
Yeah.
I normally try to do something for wherever I'm at in the month of October for this. So here it is. Hopefully they like it.
and let's normalize it. We don't have to be aware only in October, right?
Exactly.
Because it's a terrible disease, right? And anybody who's seen someone go through it, realizes that it's just not, it's not fair at the end of the day. And so, we can be aware of it every day because there's somebody that's struggling every day to deal with the effects of it. And
Of cancer, yeah.
Yep.
So I like it.
Yes, sir.
I might rock this pink in some upcoming further episodes.
Yeah, man.
So
Hey, rock the pink.
it is what
With
it
the
is.
V-neck.
With the
I mean.
V-neck, right? I need to get a bigger chest so I can flex the V-neck.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
What are we getting into today? What are we getting into today?
So, man, we are going to do, you know what? It's almost it's. I think we're too hard on ourselves, right? Sometimes we can be too hard on ourselves, and then we take on other people's thoughts and then figure out we have to measure up to those things. And so today we're going to do I suck and it's okay.
I mean, thank you for admitting that. right. No.
It's actually okay.
It's actually
that
okay.
I don't have it all together.
Yeah, no, I think that's a huge thing, right? Because a lot of the times there are expectations,
Yeah.
but they're not either realistic expectations or B, they're forced expectations, and we put this pressure. They say you're your own worst enemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know that rings true for me personally, myself. I beat myself up mentally a lot because there's times where you can't help but to feel like you have to compare or feel like you have to live up to or feel like, this person has hit this level at this age and, I'm here still struggling with, A, B, or C, whatever it is. And, it's hard, and it's okay. And I think a lot of the times people don't realize that it's okay to, for lack of a better word, suck. It's okay to suck. And that's the thing is that you're not. A lot of the times too, I think part of it is societal though in a way too, and it kind of frustrates me. And I've talked about this in the past and whatever, but like participation trophies.
Yeah. Dude, I hate them. Ooh. I hate a participation trophy. There's two things you've already said that it was like just clicked in. This participation trophy I got to deal with right now, though. My son started playing in a football league, right? A little small pee-wee league. And, I'm like, okay, cool. He's about to play. He played football and baseball in the same league, right? 2 different seasons. And we liked it because it was flag football and then Pee Wee League baseball. So it's learning the fundamentals. Right. But in learning the fundamentals, if everybody gets a participation when they're learning fundamentals, then we've taught them the wrong fundamental. And I was like, okay, we can't keep doing this.
Yeah, we can't. No,
we can't keep doing this because the expectation is that it doesn't matter how good or how bad I do, I'm going to be on the same level as the best person and the worst person. And that is so far from life. I understand it's Pee Wee League, but man, if we're going to teach fundamentals, let's teach them all.
Exactly.
Let's teach them all, man.
Exactly. No, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. And that's like my biggest, oh my God, like, and what makes me even more mad is a lot of the times the participation trophy is so similar to.
It's the same exact thing. I was like, what? And the thing was, it didn't matter how good you were, right? And no knock to the league, right? Because that's not what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not even saying the name of it. But it didn't matter. Every week, you had you had a word. So it was either determination or good teamwork, or and so the person that exhibited that during the week would get a medal, right? They would get a medal.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. And then but everybody else would also get a medal for just being part of the game. Yeah, so you would get your participation medal, and then you would if you were the player of the week, then you would get one more medal. But everybody was on the same level. And this was every game. This wasn't even at the end of the season.
That sounds like an expensive league. Medals at the end of every
they weren't that expensive. Let's just be clear. It was like more Mardi Gras medals. Like you catch out the floats.
Yeah,
it was that kind of stuff.
Okay, that's fair. Fair enough.
A doubloon.
Yeah, man, I can't stand that at all. Especially, I guess maybe for me, growing up and going through sports and going through things like that. I mean, it's not even really sports related, but since we're still on that topic, right? Like, I worked my ass off for those trophies, and those medals, and those accolades, right? And that was a symbolism of the work that I did, and it just kind of I tell people all the time when they get them, I'm like, okay, well, if you go to school, I mean, well, nowadays it's arguable, especially in college, but if you go to school, does everybody just get a passing grade just because they showed up? It doesn't matter the level of effort that you put in. Like, you're still graded upon the work and the amount of effort that you put in, So why do we do the participation thing? I don't know. But yeah, also it doesn't drive home the fact that, hey, you suck. Right? You suck. And because the thing is that there has to be a reality in everything that we do, and there has to be an understanding, because a lot of the times too, I think that when in situations like that, when you build the children up in that way, and I mean, it doesn't have to be children, just people in general, when they get the mind frame of, you can do anything you set your mind to. Like, no, you can't. And that's okay. But the thing is when you do that, you have a pretty big, your opportunity to find what you really are good at, what your goal, where your focus should be, your path in life is. Like, you sometimes miss that because you become so overwhelmed or laser focused on trying to do something that's not meant for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And, you know, it's like for me, forever, I wanted to be a race car driver. You know, I love racing.
I got you. Yeah.
I wanted to be that. And if my mom would have told me, you can be anything you want to be, I'll be out there getting my ass whooped. Because if anybody knows anything about racing, for every pound you are over equates to how much, you know, per seconds that you're slower, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to be getting whooped by everybody that weighs 100 pounds, 120, 130, 140 pounds less than me.
Right.
And B, my shoulders are too damn wide to fit in any Formula One cockpit, right. So it ain't never going to happen no way.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But if I spent my whole life going towards that,
stuck on that,
stuck on that, you know, you miss opportunities and you miss things, and that's fine. And I think that a lot of the times people are just afraid to say, hey, this isn't for you, or hey, this isn't your path.
Man, we're scared of offending people. I think we've come to this place now where, you know, and we were kind of talking about that a little while earlier. You know, we're scared of offending people, because if I say something to you that's offensive, and it causes you to do something different, then it accomplished its goal. Yeah. You know, and so I'm actually dealing with this. You know, I learned these life lessons in different phases of life, right? As a father, as a son, as a friend, as whatever it is, right? You learn different lessons in that. And one of the things, even now that my son is playing, you know, organized football, where he's learning the real fundamentals, so forth and so on, his tackle, it's all of those things. He doesn't know how to take criticism very well, right? And so if the coach is like, hey, you know, you did this wrong and you got to it's almost like you know, well, somebody else did this, or, you know, it's because of that, and not taking the responsibility on of, you know, I messed up.
Yeah.
Let me learn from it and let me move on, right? And that's, I believe, what's happening, kind of blanketed. And so I have to spend a lot of time trying to uproot whatever that is that's growing, that doesn't allow him to be able to see, hey, this is not me being destroyed or being beat up. This is an opportunity for me to grow in something that I said I wanted to do.
Yeah, no, I mean that you're right. We are afraid to offend people, and that's been one of those seeds that was planted a little while back, and it's kind of blossomed in this big thing to where just anything that's not fully supportive of whatever you want to do is offensive.
And you know, that seed it doesn't just produce a tree, it produces a full orchard, you know, of offense at that point.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is that, and that's where we need to get back to, you know, we need to get back to the basics. We need to get back to the fundamentals, right? To where it's at. And that's where the real development is, because we're not accomplishing anything by, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not willing to be offended, or you're not willing to offend, like at the end of the day, you're just telling a lie for the most part, right?
Yeah.
You're living a lie, right? Like our past episodes, we all lie for a living, right? you're out there and you're not being truthful with yourself, and you're not being truthful with the people around you. Because, I mean, yes, there are people out there that can be evil, you know, in their words, and we're not, you know, it's not taking anything.
We're not advocating that,
at all. But I should be able to tell you, dude, you suck. This is not for you. This is not your direction. This is not how it should be done, you know, and whatever, because it's about the growth, you know. But on the backside of that, in receiving, it needs to be taken from a growth perspective. You know, you're right in saying that too, because I think a lot of times people just assume that it's someone just saying, I mean, sometimes people say, oh, well, they're saying I'm not good enough. And you know what? You're probably not in that instance. Maybe, I don't know, but that's okay. And you have to understand that it's for the better of helping you be a better you know?
Yeah, I think it's important, man, that we, in that, right, that we surround ourselves with people who have at least, maybe not, if you can't get the best interest at least have a good interest, right? Because sometimes you don't have the crew of people around you who have your best interest at heart at all times. But hopefully there's some people around you who care enough just to be able to tell you the truth and you be able to receive it, right? Because I think it's important that we are able to hear something from somebody that sees us going down a path that's detrimental, not even detrimental, but just not the best way, and are able to help shift and turn us. But we have to be open and available to hearing what they have to say. So, that comes with a level of trust, because a lot of times, again, here's that offense that comes, why are you telling me? Why, You just don't want to see me win.
Yeah.
And we come up with all of this drama, about why they even told us, they told you that your shoe was untied and you may trip. Oh, why are you trying to, and sometimes I'm being comical, but sometimes I've seen some stuff that's crazy.
Oh no, yeah, I've seen it for sure. And then on the backside of it though too, is acceptance, self-acceptance and self-realization. Even for me personally, there's been a lot of things that, over the course of my life where it's frustrating, but you just have to accept, like I have to accept that this wasn't for me. And like, obviously, right, with my depression issues and everything else, like there's a lot of times where like that would hit me very hard, because I would put so much of myself and so much effort into trying to accomplish, whatever the goal was, or whatever the task is, and I could do it, but I'm not good at it.
I got it. You're not excelling. You're not growing.
I'm not excelling. I'm not growing. And then I would beat myself up just relentlessly because I should be at this level.
You're not good enough at it. Right?
Yeah, and
you're telling yourself that
you're just not there. You're just not. You're not good enough. You're not there. And a lot of the times, like, it's not. And especially growing up and everything like that. Like, there was never, for a lot of these things, there was never any reasonings behind it or whatever the situation may be. So if it was, if it was a sport, okay, well, there was never, your build, your speed, your whatever should be this. If it was a task, it was like, this person's this person's that, or whatever the situation would be. There's never no reasonings behind it. Like, I just always assumed, well, if you can do it, I can do it.
I can do it.
And you go out there, and that's generally not the case for a lot of the reasons. And it took a long time for me to get to the point where I'm just like, you know what, this is me. I can only do X amount, and I may not be number 1 or number 2 or number 10 or number 50 or 100 at this. And that's okay. I still went out there. I still gave it my best. I still tried, and that may not be for me. But the person that is number 1 here, they're not even number 200 over here, and I'm at the top of the top. So that too is. It's kind of hard, and I think that people don't really, I think society has become a lot of keeping up with so-and-so and trying to be like so-and-so and having so-and-so, and this person has this success, so I should have it too, and not focusing more on what am I good at. Who cares what everybody else is doing? Who cares what is making everybody else successful? Like, what are you good at? What are you happy doing? And even then, if you're not, at the end of the day, I'm to the point now where it's all about the mental health and your happiness. And if that means you're happy and, financially okay, and you're doing something that you suck at, but if you're happy doing it, then do it. Man,
I was watching this, it was an Ironman, not an Ironman competition, but one of those, dang it, the boot camps, what do you call them?
It wasn't a CrossFit?
CrossFit. So it was a CrossFit competition, right? And they had these different stations that everybody had, and it was probably about 15 to 20 guys and they were, doing the competition, and they had to run, they had to climb the rope, they had to come down, hit the top, come back, move the thing. It was just, and it was just in a straight line. It was basically a relay, right?
Right.
And you run yours, and you had to do that, I believe, 10 times in order to win. So there was one guy who was a standout, and he was just going boom, boom, boom. And he had lapped the last person at least 3 or 4 times by the end of it, right? And they interviewed him, and he was like, he did his spiel. But then they also interviewed the last guy. And the last guy is what made me, what I found was the most important conversation that they had that day. Because the last guy said, I really did it for me. He said, I got into CrossFit at this weight. I got into that, this health, and none of it was good. And for me, this is the crown because I was able to come in and actually complete it. And so it wasn't about him necessarily winning it for the show or for the fame or for the fortune. It was about him accomplishing it for himself. Right. And so what other people may say, oh, you were the last one, you got lapped 3 times. He didn't care because that didn't matter to him at that point.
Right.
Because he did it for different reasons. Right. And I think sometimes if we don't know what the reason is why we're doing it, or we're doing it for somebody else's approval, then we'll get lost in, I suck. And now I'm not only do I suck, but I'm not worthwhile. We'll fall into that as opposed to I'm suck, but I'm okay. Because at the end of the day, what he accomplished in last place would have blown me out of the water, right? I'd have been done at the last lap. Cotton mouth and just, where's the water? Medic, we got one over here. We need to get him, So I think if we keep it in perspective, man, I mean, and that's hard to do sometimes.
It is.
Because I'm looking at the first man just getting lapped me 3 times, right? And he's, just pristine, chiseled, everything is good. And I'm over here and I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, but that's what it is. It is perspective, man. And that's what I think a lot of us miss. But we also need to instill in the younger generation is coming up is that like you don't have to be this. I think that people are starting to get it, but I think that they're taking it in the wrong direction.
It's always extremes in the whole thing.
There's a lot of extremes that are going on there. But I think that is something that we need to do. I think that everybody needs to understand that, it is just about, at the end of the day, it's about being happy with you. Mm-hmm. It's about being happy with you. It's about being happy with your progress, and it is so daunting, and it's hard not to think about, what can I do better? I mean, even in everything, even in this efforts that we're putting in here with the show and like, even with like, Instagram and stuff like that, like it's always hard. Right. Even then it's like, man, I suck at this. Look, because you see like so many people. Let's just
tell me this conversation, right? We had this conversation before we started today, right? Yes. And I was like, because the work that he's putting in is work that I don't even really grasp. We think in 2 different ways, right? And so you're saying, man, I suck, and I'm looking at it like, dang, that's good. Like, wow, and so again, it's about perspective, right? And so hopefully there's some people around us who can help balance that, right? When we slip into those moments where we feel like, okay, what I'm doing is really not, it may not be pristine. Again, we're comparing it to somebody else, but they may have been doing it for 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, or even at this point, a full year. Which we aren't at yet.
Not even close.
So not even a full year into the game, we have people that are watching and listening.
Consistent listening.
And somebody who's walking on their morning walk who checked you about, hey, where's the show?
Yeah. I mean, it's true. It's true. It's true when you
It's
put it in
true.
that perspective.
Yeah.
But I mean but that is what you're saying, like, and that's where the hard part is. I still
know.
struggle with
I
it,
got you.
Yeah. And it is hard to grasp. And that's what I want people to kind of understand and kind of see, that, I mean, hey, I'm struggling with it. I know it's not just us here saying, when we say these things, it's not just, oh, we got it under control and hey, you guys just go out there,
right.
But it is difficult because, I mean, I don't know, when you like you said, you don't know how long the other person has been doing it. That's one of the main things too that I've noticed, whether it's, in business or in sports or in life or whatever the situation is, experience matters.
Yeah, it does.
It makes
does.
a huge difference in a lot of things that are out there. And if the people out there, or the people that are listening, if they're not super versed or super experienced in something, like, you have to give it time. You have to be able to give yourself the opportunity to grow and adjust, because I mean, it's one thing to read all about whatever it is you're doing,
right?
It's a whole nother thing to go out there and do it.
Man, I taught a message. I taught a message, and it was called Ready, Fire, Aim. Because normally the it's ready, aim, fire, right? You get ready, you aim, and then you pull the trigger, right? But I switched it up because I think we spend too much time preparing and never pulling the trigger. Because if we never pull the trigger, then we never have anything to gauge against, right? So if I get ready, I fire, then I can adjust, right? Because if I didn't hit the target, at least I know, okay, I was too far to the left. We went to the range.
Yeah.
You were telling me, hey, put your sight here, right? But we wouldn't have known that had I never pulled the trigger on the gun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think we get lost sometimes in that will help us. I think that hurts us sometimes, feeling like we don't have it or can't do it, is because we get lost in that fear of pulling the trigger. And if I don't pull the trigger, then I'm safe, but I'm not safe because I don't feel accomplished.
Yeah.
Because I don't have anything to measure against, right? And so it's just a double-edged sword that eventually you got to pull the trigger, because if you don't hit the target, if it's to the left, then you need to adjust. It gives you something to measure against. If it's too high, you can come down. It gives you something to measure against, right? And so as we were at the range, I adjusted my body. I adjusted my, I relaxed here and did this and did that. But all of those were adjustments that I would have never found out had I not pulled the trigger.
No, that's true. I mean, that's 100% true. And we are talking about life.
We are talking about full life, not complete life. Okay.
So please don't take this as a mass shooter opportunity out there for anybody that's listening. We're not trying to shoot up
No, we're not doing that.
Not doing that.
Even though we can do it in Texas, clearly.
Clearly. But yeah, I mean, that's what it is. People have to shoot. We're doing all of this. I feel like though we're missing one thing though. We're missing one thing in this, and I want to put it out there so that people can understand and people have it. So we're spending this time. We've said that, hey, you have to sometimes pull the trigger to see the proverbial trigger to see where you are in life and make adjustments. We have, go out there and, if you're happy, that's what it is. As long as you're happy and you're doing it, you're not beating yourself up because you're not at the front of the list or the highest paid or whatever. If you're happy, that's good. And we're doing a lot of push towards that. But what I feel like we're also missing in that is some of you guys need to stop.
Okay. Okay.
So, and I just want to get that out there before we
get too far.
Yeah, before we get too far, right? Because I don't want people to be thinking that it's okay.
This big kumbaya moment, right?
I got you. No. Yeah. So we got to reel them back in just a little bit, because there are some people out there that just suck and need to switch up everything.
Stop what you're doing.
Stop what you're doing, right? Because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to.
I was thinking the same darn thing. Yo, I'm making money.
Yes. But yeah, no, there are some people that just need to stop. And there are some people out there who are motivating people that just
to continue in foolishness.
Yes, that just need to stop. And I think that that's a huge part of it though too, because a lot of the times we may have the most supportive people behind us. We may have the everything going and everything set up perfect the way we want to have, and at the end of the day, we still suck.
Yeah,
and it's not sucking as in you're not as good as the next person, but it's sucking as in it is taking a negative turn.
Yeah,
either on you or your trajectory or your mental health or your whatever, because that's a thing too that sometimes I feel that we miss, in the sense of, it's like touching the hot stove, right?
Yeah.
If you have someone keep telling you, oh no, this is good for you, it's going to build a callus and you're going to get, there's some things that are not good to be repeated. There's some things that
you don't have to have a callus.
No.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to keep dealing with the heat to get the callus. No, just put something on or stop touching it altogether.
Yeah, would be ideal. And that's the thing, right? Is that there are different types of people.
Yeah.
There's a person for everything, There not everybody likes to take the trash out.
Yeah.
But that's why we have garbage men. Not everybody wants to unclog the shitty toilet. That's why, there's plumbers.
Right.
And those are a specific set of people that do a specific set of things because that's what they do. And I think that a lot of the times we can push people, especially the younger kids or even people now that are midlife crisis or trying to figure themselves out or whatever. You can go down a path that seems positive and full of encouragement and full of possibilities, but that's not where you need to be.
Yeah.
That's not the path that's for you.
Right.
And that's okay too.
Yep.
There's a lot of times where I found myself personally like just going down all the wrong directions, because you think like, oh, well, this is what everybody is around me is doing. Everybody is becoming this type of person or that type of person. And so I want to do, I enjoy it. I want to do it too, but that's not what's meant for me. But when you have people that are telling you, yeah, man, oh, that's great. Oh, yeah, man. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, man. Or you need to do this, or you need to do that or whatever. It's very easy to get caught up in.
So part of that, man, is people surround themselves sometimes with those type of individuals, right? Because they don't want to hear the you suck. And so if I don't want to hear that, then I'm going to surround myself with people who will support anything that I say, basically, who are not going to contradict me, right?
Yeah.
Because and sometimes I believe that some of us feel that if you contradict me, then then it's an attack. Like it almost becomes a personal attack if you don't agree with me. And so I'll surround myself with people who always agree. But that doesn't help us grow, right? Sometimes we need to be told that this isn't really what's going on. This isn't the best thing, and I learned it the hard way. What my first major you suck moment was basketball, little league basketball for me. I played football, I played baseball, did well at both of them, right? In Pee Wee League, now going to basketball. And I had never really played basketball, never really was interested in it. But hey, it's another sport. Let's try it out, right? Get in playing basketball, shoot. Really not good at all, And I remember this game so vividly. Get in the game, everything's moving. They shoot me, threw me the ball. Oh, I got it. The dribble is on point. Dude, going down the court, pull up, 2 points. In the wrong goal. My best athletic moment in basketball.
Yes.
That was my last game. I sucked. And it was okay for me not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It was okay, right? It was absolutely okay for me to be like, you know what? Yeah, Pop, this is not gonna be
not
it.
For me.
You know, I know you spent money on this, and you know, I know, you had this planned out, but basketball is not gonna win. Let's try something. Let's go back to this baseball and football. You know, and that was okay.
Yeah, man. No, and yeah, and that's a perfect example where people are like, you know what?
Because I don't want to be embarrassed anymore.
At all.
You know, and so that was enough for me to be, because the coach was like, Hasten, come here. You know? And I just sat down. I'm like trying to figure out what's going on because I didn't get it at first. I'm like, oh. Because the other team was cheering. One dude patted me on the back from the other team. What kind of crap is that?
He was letting you know you did a good job.
Yeah, good job. Thank you. We needed those points.
It was on point. Man, no, I don't know what it is about basketball. That's another thing too, man. I never had an experience like that, but that was one I would say one of mine in sports. I played basketball coming up, and that was one for me that I had to realize was just
is not it.
Is not it.
Yeah.
And the thing is like I could function. I was fast. So I could blitz the court like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
I was decent height. I could jump. I could dunk at that time.
Okay.
Right. So that was good. But then there was moments where like in drills, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't go left.
Yeah, I got you. It just wouldn't go.
It just doesn't happen. And I would practice, and I would do this, and I would do that, and I would do all the drills coach would give, and everything else. But I couldn't go left. So everybody knew I was gonna go right.
You're going right.
The only saving grace that I had is that I was faster than everybody.
Okay. All right.
So you couldn't catch
speed by me.
Yeah, you couldn't catch me. But I don't know. I was just weak on that side, and that was one of those things that I just had to realize, this isn't for me, and let it go. You know? And that's okay. But though, I guess for those things, it's easier when it's something that doesn't hold, I guess, a ton of value.
Yeah.
To you,
right.
Right. And I know it's a lot harder when people care or people really want something. But then I have to ask them, well, I mean, why do you want it?
Yeah.
And is it a level of you want that specific thing, or you want the glory or the accomplishment or the whatever it is? Because you can find those things in other avenues of life. Mm-hmm. You can find that. There's reasons why people, they go their whole career building this giant enterprise, and then they quit because they're not fulfilled. They're not fulfilled there, and they want to go do something else. Right. And it's not for them. And so you have to really look at yourself and say, what is it that I really want out of these things, and what is it that is going to make me feel like I'm winning?
Man, let's fast forward, right? We got basketball, right? Because I want to fast forward to something that's adult, right? Because I went through a period over years of trying to compare myself, or feeling less than because I couldn't do what I felt like I was supposed to be doing, right? I had gone to school. I had gotten my degree in architecture. This is what I wanted to do before I started playing baseball, football, and basketball. Right. I was playing with Legos and building, right? And so I always knew, before I could even say it, I always knew I wanted to be an architect. Went to school, followed through with it, did exactly what I needed to do. did well in school, graduated, moved to Houston, Texas with my resume and my portfolio ready to go. Went into these architecture jobs, and these guys are saying, well, hey, you don't have what we need. You mean to tell me my whole life's thought, and I get to hear you tell me I suck?
Yeah.
They told me you don't have the necessary pieces that even as a starter position. I'm not talking about trying to come in and be CEO.
Just sword and mail.
Yeah. Let me just get in. Can I, I'll whatever you, let me just get into the firm.
Yeah.
And I'll work myself up, right? And I did that, man, and ended up having to go apply for a cashier position and a warehouse position at the place where we met, right?
Yeah.
At the wonderful Blue Box. And for years, I was still caught up in, well, dang, the people I graduated with, I even was better in them than class, right? I got better grades than them. My projects would always be better than theirs. The teachers were always, some of them are living in Houston, fully in architecture positions, moving up in firms. And here I am working at IKEA in the communications and interior design department. And I had to deal with them people telling me that I sucked.
Yeah.
Right? I had all of this knowledge. I had all of this understanding. I had all of this stuff. Right? But one of the things I realized over time is that wasn't my path. Because I don't know where that would have taken me. I really had it figured out. I was going to work in architecture for a couple of years. I was going to Rice, and I was going to get my degree in architecture after 2 more years from an Ivy League in university. And as a black man with an Ivy League university, I could go to any university and teach architecture and make 6 figures coming out of the gate. I had that plan
laid out.
And after Rice told me they weren't accepting me, they told me I sucked again. I was like, this is for the birds. I couldn't go home because I wasn't going home. But I'm now looking back on it. I'm appreciative of the journey that I took, right? Not knowing where it was going to lead me, but it's led me to this, right? It's led me to meeting you. It's led me to not working for anybody anymore. It's led me to so many other things that I think were purposed for me on the back end. But I was told I sucked, right? And that just had to be okay. Because if I'd have kept going, kept trying, I would have kept exerting energy into something that just wasn't going to pay off for me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and that's the thing, right? That it was a reluctant, that's okay.
Dude, that wasn't okay. I'm still paying the freaking loans. None of that was okay for me to hear. It was absolutely not okay. Because you mean to tell me Aaron Hingston III, the best, I was on the upper echelon.
Up there.
You mean to tell me I can't come to Houston and get a job? And this dude and that girl and that dude, they got jobs?
They got the jobs, man.
And you begin to question your worth in those points, man.
You do.
Yeah.
You do, and I know those life experiences, I mean, they're difficult. But that's the thing is, even though it's not okay, it's okay. I tell myself, and the more I look at my life as well, going through things, this is not where I'm supposed, like, this isn't where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right.
At all. Like this was not.
This is not the plan.
This was not the plan, not even remotely close to it. But that's okay, because you have to have those struggles. You have to have those, those little irritations in life. Those are the things that create something beautiful. That's where you get a lot of your inner strength from. That's where you get a lot of your growth from. That's where you get a lot of these things from. And I feel that people miss out on that because they're always wanting to not suck. They always want to be the best. Or pushing these people through to let them know it doesn't matter what you do, you're always good. And we're not giving people the opportunity to struggle and to grow. We're not giving people the opportunity to really develop into who they are and who they can be. You know, I mean, nothing, when they say nothing in this life that's worth having is easy.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's true.
Right.
In a lot of ways. You know, easy is a convenience.
Man, the thing, I mean, we have all of these different things that we can look at, right? Diamonds are created under pressure, right? You have coal, and then you create the pressure, and then you have pearls, which are they're an irritant, right?
Irritant, yeah.
They're irritated, you know. And the thing that I like most about it is that these things that have been, that thing that was created as an irritant now has value, right? And people will pay for it. They'll pay some serious money. I thought, you know, maybe let me go find a pearl necklace for the wife. And I said, huh?
Yeah.
You know what? Let me look at these cultures over here, because this real stuff right here, because it was created, it's not easily created, right? It's an irritant. And that irritant then creates a system and a process that causes something to be developed that wasn't initially there had the irritant not showed up.
Exactly.
And so if we're not irritated, if we're not told we suck, then we don't change. We stay right there, and we never produce a pearl.
Ever.
And so then what's really valuable that people are going to pay for?
Nothing.
There's not much there, right?
There's not much there. And that's where, you know, it really all kind of boils down to is those irritations, those suck
that we get mad at.
Yeah, those suck moments that you're frustrated or whatever. Like, that is an opportunity for you to bounce back and be a better you, to be a stronger you, to be a you that can go out and change the world at the end of the day, right? And that's where it really comes from. It's your ability to be resilient, your ability to be malleable, adaptable, and kind of bounce back in a lot of the ways. And when you hear that you suck, it's going to sting. It's going to hurt. But on the backside of that hurt is your personal growth.
The irritant is an opportunity, dude.
Opportunity to the fullest, man.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing. So
that's a wonderful thing.
For everybody out there, right? You suck.
You suck.
You suck.
Yeah.
And that is perfectly okay.
It's okay. It's okay. And hopefully, you know, it'll cause you to, the irritation of hearing that, of recognizing that, will cause you to use that as fuel to create something beautiful.
Let it be the catalyst.
That'll be it. That's it, man. I love it. Wow.
Yeah. I'm ready to play now. Put me in the game now. I came here to prove it. I'm ready to do it. I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now. I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage, and I'm ready to break.